Welcome back to Inside the Box. I'm Joanna Lee, and we are in the second episode of 2021's Asian Heritage Month series. Today's guest artist was hailed as a master of Korean wind instruments, including the Piri flute, shoeing like saenghwang, and taepyeongso oboe by New York Music Daily, and is a pioneer of Korean wind instruments beyond borders through both traditional Korean music as well as cross-disciplinary collaboration by Terra Magazine. It is my absolute honor to present the versatile and highly regarded Piri artist, Dr. Gamin. Welcome, Gamin. It is wonderful to have you here today.
Hi everyone, and hi Joanna. Thank you for having me. This is a really great pleasure for me.
Absolutely, and it's great to have you here. So let's start off with your origin story. How did you get into traditional Korean wind instruments? And what was your journey like in fulfilling your professional role today?
I played music for all my life since when I was a kid at age 7. I started to play piano and piano school was my playground. Every day I went to piano school and I played music and I hang out with friends, and also I learned violin at age 10. So playing music, piano, violin was my great way to play and my hobby, and I dreamed to be a musician since I started to play music. When I entered the Korean music school at age 15, I actually didn't know about Korean traditional music, but I was very much curious. I was very curious about everything at that time, and I wanted to know what is Korean music because I didn't know at all. And one day I found out there is a Korean music school, so that was very surprising for me. I always loved music and I loved play all the instruments. Then I found out I didn't know about Korean music and Korean instruments. So I wanted to learn, and I went to Korean music school that is specialized Korean traditional music and dance school in Seoul, Korea. So I started to study Korean music. Actually, my major instrument, Piri, was not much popular instrument, and I didn't know. That was first time ever I heard this sound of instrument, and that was really surprising moment in my life. I took Piri as a major. That is quite big change because I played string and piano, and Piri is wind instrument, and I played Western instrument, and I switched to Korean traditional instrument. So it was quite big change, but the whole different structure and different sound quality and timbre, those character really surprised me, and I really into that new sound. Actually, that is a really old sound, from I don't know, maybe 2,000 years or more, but that kind of old sounds was very new for me, and I wanted to learn more and deeper. So I took major as a Piri, and I studied Korean music in university. I started to learn other wind instrument, saenghwang, which is mouth organ, and I also learned taepyeongso. That is quite similar to Piri because those all have a reed, so it is very similar to play, and I enjoyed to change sounds. Piri sound is very earthy, very unique, and it's very similar to human voice, and it is very close to your breathing and your heart, your mind. So it is a really attractive instrument, but also other instruments like saenghwang and taepyeongso has totally different, timbre, totally different sound quality, and that also give a lot of dynamic and different chord. So I like to discover different sounds, and I always like to change some different sounds. So I studied traditional music in university, and I eventually got a doctor's degree for Korean music major. After finish my school program, I was able to enter the National Korean Music Orchestra in Seoul. So I was a member of the Korean orchestra for 10 years. That was really special experience, and I was able to play traditional music and modern music as an orchestra member. Also, I was interested in new music, so I continued to work my individual project outside of orchestra work, and eventually I wanted to discover more of new music and independent, musical activities outside of Korea. So I have been, going back and forth between Seoul and New York, and now I'm full-time living in New York City.
That's wonderful that you're bringing the cultural, differences to North America.
Yeah, it was really great opportunity for me to come to New York and tour to the world, and it gave me a lot of new experience to work with artists from all over the world and collaborate with other artists, composer, visual artists or dancers, all kinds of disciplinary artists. That was really fun collaboration, and it opened up more possibility to explore like new music, and that was great joy and great experience.
Speaking of performances, what were your most memorable performances?
I can say actually there are so many wonderful, memorable performance in my life, but I can say the performance I had in 2008 in Paris and New York. That was really memorable performance and changed my life and brought me to New York. The performance was held in UNESCO Hall in Paris and Lincoln Center in New York. So that time I lived in Korea, and I just traveled to Paris and New York for performances. And it was not like a group tour from Korea. I was the only one Korean musician from Korea, and I was able to meet all different traditional musicians and Western musicians from all over the world. So we made ensemble. It was a big ensemble, and played composed piece that was composed by Anthony Paul de Rittis, who is a composer and professor at the Northeastern University in Boston. So the music was composed for all different types of traditional instrument and Western orchestra. So I played music with erhu player and bebop player and tabla player and all different types of traditional instrumentalists. We were all together play music on the same stage, and we made ensemble, and it was really great experience for me. And culturally, it was privileged to see all traditional folk culture music at the same time, and exchange ideas and play music together. Those musicians, some of them live in New York, some of them from Paris, and I traveled from Korea. So that performance was one of the most memorable performance for me. And since that time, I started to think more about music in the world, and it's really opened mind, and that brought me to New York actually.
Speaking of cross-disciplinary collaboration, what factors made you decide on taking up those projects?
I played a lot of concerts, and a lot of collaboration with different musicians, like a new composed music, and Western orchestra, and some Korean traditional music ensemble. So I did a lot of different types of ensemble project in music category. That is really nice, and I enjoyed a lot. And my main disciplinary is music, and I always want to do something with music. So it was my main my home ground. But I started to work with dancers and visualists. That gave me very inspirational idea about new music. So when I work with visual artists or dancers, we inspire each other, and I think it gave us to have something really new. So it's not only about sound. It's all about sound and visual, and whole performance is on a stage that is quite similar to actually ritualistic performance. Korean music, dance, and Korean culture is all actually come from ritual or ceremony. Music became one of the genre, and it became stage performance. But originally, music always accompanied with dance, and those performance was one of the part of ritual. So actually, it is always combined with other literature or music, dance, and visual, and so those cultural whole structure made things even more beautiful. And I think the multidisciplinary work for me is not only new form or new structure, but also it's more close to original structure, original form, like a ritualistic performance. So I like to see whole structure, and I like to inspired by all different arts and culture, and it also opened more possibility to have more diverse audience.
Yes.
Because some people are interested in dance, and some people are more interested in music. So all different audiences can enjoy their their taste, and so that's how I'm very much like to do those things.
Speaking of collaborations, what was it like to perform with Yo-Yo Ma?
That was really special, performance. I was I participated global musicians workshop, which is hosted by Silkroad Ensemble. Every year they have kind of a summer music camp for all musicians from all over the world, and I was a faculty member 2000 probably 16, and that time it was really great to see musicians who are interested in music from all over the world, and people want to learn different culture and different tradition, and people just exchange all the ideas and try to learn and try to play and together. So that was really also great memorable moment in my life. After that workshop, I was invited to perform with Silkroad Ensemble when they had tour in Seoul, Korea. So whole like a group, including Yo-Yo, visited Korea, and we had a performance at the Seoul Arts Center, which is one of the most beautiful and big concert hall. So it was really special experience. Not only because not only play music with greatest musician like Yo-Yo, but also it was great to share music with a certain group of people. We visited one orchestra which is consists of disabled youth people, and we did workshop, and Yo-Yo introduced a group, and we played music together. And so the sharing music is really beautiful thing. And also on a stage we played Korean folk song melody and one composition that is based on Korean lullaby. So the beautiful cello sound like a melody lullaby by Yo-Yo, and we made ensemble on top of that. So that was really beautiful music, and privileged to perform with this group with Yo-Yo. So that is really memorable moment.
I want to go back to talking about traditional Korean wind instruments. Can you tell me more about the history of it?
My instrument, Piri, saenghwang, and taepyeongso, all those wind instruments come from China, but instrument itself come from more western part of China. So, through Silk Road, it come from probably Central Asia, and it traveled to China, and it came to Korea, and Korean instrument also went to Japan. So there are so many similar instruments in East Asia, even South Asia and Central Asia. So it is very interesting journey, and it is very interesting to see how similar instrument other country have, and how different how musical instrument identified in the country. That is also very interesting thing. So my instrument, all those wind instruments came before 10th century, and it performed for both traditional court music and folk music. Interestingly, even if we have similar instrument, but the musical character and the rhythmic, cycle, or those elements, musical elements, are so different from other Asian country, like Japan, China. We are so close, and we have very similar instruments, but the character of music and the scale, those those are all different. And this is very interesting to see, how musical instrument, Koreanized, and we developed music, in our country independently, and it became one of the representative, cultural culture in Korea. So all of those instruments are very kind of natural. It is all made of bamboo or wood. So it doesn't have any, artificial equipment. So I believe, we preserved well instruments, and the music also we preserved well. And it is very close to nature. And even if some music influenced by China in ancient time, the ancient types of music is really well preserved. And also, Korean, now Korean wave, affect a lot of, aspects. And, there are a lot of fusion and contemporary and pop, culture, and that also influenced to traditional culture. So there are, a lot, cross and fusion music. That is also very interesting to see. Traditional music has one side is very well preserved, and we have a system to preserve traditional culture, like intangible cultural asset. We have system to preserve. In the meantime, all those pop culture influence a lot, and there are a lot of fusion, culture also developing and very popular. So this is very interesting, happening.
Thank you for sharing that. I was also wondering, do you mind demonstrating for our audiences a few performance techniques?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I have instrument next to me. This is saenghwang. We can say simply mouth organ, but it has many bamboos, and originally it's made of gold plant in ancient time, but material has changed now, but it still have same kind of 17 bamboo.
Yes.
Very interestingly, this instrument is performed by aristocracy, nobleman, or female entertainer. So it is mostly played for classical music, not for folk music. So it has very gentle sound. And also one very interesting thing is this instrument can make chord. Many if you listen Korean traditional music, you don't much recognize harmony. It is all like a melody, and even if you listen ensemble music, it's all about the melody. So all instruments, each instrument make their own melody. But this one, saenghwang, make a certain chord that kind of support other instruments. So that is very interesting thing. So you see there are mouthpiece. I blow air through this mouthpiece, and each pipe has their own note. So if I cover one hole, it make one note, and if I cover two hole, it make two notes at the same time. So when we play traditional music, we usually made two notes at the same time, but we can experiment with many notes. It depends on my fingering. So I play some traditional music and also contemporary music with those new experiment.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I just improvised, and yeah, so the traditional music has very gentle and very sustainable, long tone, because it's available to make sound with inhale and exhale both. So we don't actually need to like cut and take a break. So it make long tone, and sometimes it just make one chord with long beat, and other flute make more colorful sounds on top of this chord. So mostly, yeah, traditional music has very gentle, kind of grounded sounds, but it can be more experimental with or different contemporary techniques and new sounds, and that is also very enjoyable to play.
Yeah, and it's so efficient too. I mean, you can finally just breathe and play a wind instrument at the same time.
Yeah, this is taepyeongso, Korean reed instrument, and this one has very tiny reed. So this is actually taepyeongso reed. But it has pretty loud sound. You will be surprised, how tiny reed makes so loud sound. This instrument usually played outdoor with many percussions, and performed by Royal Military Band or Farmers Band. So when we have some festival in the farm or village, people played all different percussions, and people dance and have some festival or ritual. And this instrument, taepyeongso, used to accompanied by many percussions, and this one is only melodic instrument. So it's, it share, or people and make more, delight sound. The name of taepyeongso also represent how, this instrument performed. Tae means big, and pyong means piece, and so means instrument. So it is supposed to bring peace and bless, so it is very cheerful sound. I'm gonna play very short music that is performed by, farmers band. The music by farmers we call 농악, and usually it performed outdoor with, acrobatic, performance and percussions, and it is really fun, performance outdoor. And this melody is very also very cheerful and played with percussions. So it is kind of, marching, and dance music, and called 능게.
Wow, that was wonderful. Thank you for, demonstrating.
Thank you. So this folk music is not written music, and now we learn music from score that is transcribed, but it's more like improvised music and outdoor performance with percussion group. So it's very free, and melody can go on and on. Also it can be just on and off. It's a very free form, but very fun music. I have my main instrument, Piri. This is Piri. You see, this is very simple bamboo flute. So it has 7 holes in front and 1 hole in the back. So I play like vertically, and it doesn't have any, equipment. So it is very, natural instrument, and Piri is quite main instrument in Korean music ensemble. I can say probably it's the role of Piri is similar to violin in orchestra, because it make main melody and it lead ensemble. So it's kind of a leader in the ensemble, and the sounds also very strong, and it has a lot of dynamics compared to other string instruments. So it used to play for court music and with big ensemble, also folk music, with small group, and yeah, so all the melodic component played by Piri, and it has like a very large reed. This is pipe, and this is reed. So I put together and make sound. So it has to be actually wet before I play. And then it opened reed, and there is a small holes that allow me to make sounds. So I'm gonna put reed to the body like this. So so I can play one of the traditional tune based on southwestern, traditional musical scale that is called Shinawi. Shinawi is originally shamanic ritual music, mostly improvisational music, but it can be ensemble or it can be solo music with one percussion, janggu mainly. Janggu is hourglass drum. So it also has very free form. It is improvisational music, and it used to performed for ritual. So it has a lot of free structure and melody.
Thank you, Gamin, for sharing that. That was really beautiful. I was wondering if you can tell me more about your most valued principles in traditional Piri performance practice.
As you saw, Piri instrument, it is very very small bamboo instrument, and it has quite limited pitch range. And but it doesn't mean that it has a limitation, or it has more quality of different sound, and I can explore more about sound and blowing, and rather than explore pitch wise. So I'm when I studied Piri, actually it is it needs a lot of strength and patience. This is really you have to really struggle with your lips and your air and your breathing. Physically it is very hard. It is I can say it is actually much harder than you think. So you have to really struggle with all the physical things while you learn the instrument. So that is actually I have been asked by other musicians who tried to learn instrument. Many like a Western instrumentalist, saxophonist or clarinet, player. Some of them tried to learn Piri, and they asked me how it is difficult, how hard to play. So you have to really train, and you have to get used to it. And once you have those strengths, then you can explore much more and easier. So that is actually big challenge for musicians, when I studied Piri, in school, many times, many of my classmates and many more of my friends and myself, had to struggle a lot. And, it is so, it's not about techniques. It is not about, um, any other, any other musical, training, but basic stuff, basic sound, basic training, basic, your ability to have strength, take a lot of time. So it requires really, patience and practice a lot. So I can say that is the most, valuable things. Many instruments, I mean, not only Piri, I mean, musical instruments need a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of, struggling with physically, mentally, but, those efforts, very demanding, effort, much required for play Piri, especially for your breathing and your strength. That's make you, I think, stronger. Not only for musical training, but also your mind has to be really strong. So I can say that is the most valuable thing.
Absolutely. And I could certainly appreciate the different demands it is physically for your body. I can only imagine you have to obviously change your embouchure and your breath each time you switch a different Korean wind instrument. And it sounds like PD is the most toughest out of the three.
Yeah. Some people think, taepyeongso sounds are very loud, and people think, oh, that's very hard to play, but yeah, not that difficult actually. Taepyeongso, you can make sound, and little kids can make sound. Yeah, but Piri has a large reed, and it needs a lot of control with your air, lips, and embouchure, muscles, everything like. So it's more difficult.
Yeah, and it definitely imitates the human voice, traditional Korean voice.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's really great point of view. Instrumental music absolutely influenced by vocal music, and we can say this instrumental music is another version of vocal music. So and also instrumental music always accompanied by vocal. So always try to follow or support vocal sound, and also the melody. We try to listen and play same melody or make some supportive phrase. So it is absolutely related with vocal music, and very similar to similar way to play.
Absolutely. Would you say it is very similar to pansori?
Yes, the music I played just now for Piri is very similar to pansori. The scale and the way of playing, those heavy vibrato or bending sounds, those are all appeared in pansori music. So it is quite similar, and just different version with instrument. So I can say it is absolutely influenced by pansori.
The way you play the PD, it sounds so similar to a human voice. It was very touching.
Yeah, I think the pitch range of PD is very similar to human voice. So it's give more close feeling than other instrument.
Can you tell me more about your experience as an artist in residency at the Here Art Center?
Fortunately, I was selected for artist residency at Here Art Center in New York last year, 2020. During pandemic, that was great news for me. After lockdown, many artists had to struggle, and had to be isolated, and that was really a hard time for everybody. But that time, I was able to do artist residency at the Here Art Center. Of course, I didn't go to theater at all for a year, and I didn't have any live performance. But I was able to collaborate with my co-worker, Japanese musician and visual artist Sachio Takeshi. So we have been developing project The Emotions based on East Asian traditional music and culture. So we had one streaming concert last year, and we are preparing another streaming performance in July this year. This is an ongoing project, and we are developing project, and eventually we hope to premiere completed piece maybe in 3 years. But it's a long-term developing project, and this time we are working with puppeteers and more visual elements. So traditional Korean music and Japanese music, and some electronic sounds and puppet arts will be combined, and we will have some stream performance in July.
That's beautiful, and you'll have to share that with me because I would love to see it. And any of the past performances, I'll definitely put in the link below. So I was also wondering, were there other projects you did during the pandemic?
During pandemic, I did a lot of video, concerts and recordings. So hopefully things are coming out soon. And one of them I'm working on is project called Unforgotten Song. That is also ongoing project that I'm working on. It's about song from comfort woman survivors during World War II. And I got inspiration from the songs from grandmas, harmony, comfort woman survivors. They made beautiful songs, and those songs are all about traditional folk song or fusion, pop music in that era, and some of them are very similar to pansori. So or there were also lullaby. So those songs are recorded by my collaborator Changjin Lee, who is a visual artist. She interviewed comfort woman survivors, and she made some visual work. So I collaborated with her for new video project. So it is a media performance collaboration between music and visual art, but it has a lot of real documentary like photos and songs and interview, and especially for this I played music with Japanese musician, shakuhachi player. So shakuhachi is a Japanese traditional instrument, and I wanted to make some cultural exchange, especially it is not only about not only about a certain topic. It has more wider issues for and I wanted to create something multicultural performance. So music is performed by shakuhachi player, and there is one piece by string quartet and electronic sound. Also some solo music by myself. All the visual art is created by Changjin Lee, and her visual work is all about portrait and interview and photos of comfort women survivors. So it is really meaningful and powerful performance, and I would like to develop it more in the future. I'm waiting for streaming performance. We made a project this year, so I hope to stream it soon.
Absolutely, and I look forward to hearing all about it. And I was wondering, how did you relate to this project? What was the most valuable thing you took away from it?
Comfort woman issue is not only about those victims. It is ongoing problem in contemporary society in the world. We see every day something happening, human trafficking and sexual violence and many things still going on. So I'm interested in supporting people and society who are fighting for justice, and this issue is not only for those victims. It is all about people, and I think this is really important thing. And as a musician and as a woman, as an artist, I would like to make some work and contribution. I think this is my I don't know how to say, but I feel like I just have to do it.
I agree with you. This is something that we must create as an awareness to society to stop the human trafficking or advocating for it. And as women, we need to be strong and stand together, especially when it comes to this ongoing issue. And it's not just an ongoing issue, it's also the way things were handled historically as well as politically, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How would you celebrate Asian Heritage Month this year?
Yeah, Asian Heritage Month, I'm very happy about it. And I had an online concert last year. But this year, actually, I have upcoming live concert. This is not specifically for celebration of Asian Heritage Month, but I'm very happy to join some of live performance with traditional instrument and music. One of them, I will have a performance at the Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn next week. That is outdoor performance. So people will walk through cemetery. It is beautiful, beautiful place, and there are full of greens and flowers and beautiful place. And during the walk tour, I will play music outdoor, probably some on a hills, and with other musicians who play saxophone. So it is cultural exchange between kind of jazz, American music, and Korean music, and different instruments, different backgrounds. But we will be improvising music outdoor, and people will hear, sounds, natural sound, bird sound or wind sound with instrumental sound while they walk through the park. So that is one of the exciting upcoming concert. And I can say this is for my celebration for Asian Heritage Month.
Absolutely, and it actually does count because it is in the month of Asian Heritage Month. So yeah, do you have a link that you can share to the audience for this?
Yeah, absolutely. I can share the link. Yeah.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. It was an absolute privilege to have you here today. And for those of you watching, thanks for tuning in. After this, there will be a wonderful performance of gamin, so please enjoy. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future episodes. In the meantime, be well and keep on practicing safe social distancing so we are healthy enough to support wonderful artists like gamin and be present for live concerts in the near future. Take care. Bye.